be interviewing him on resolve that marijuana be legalized in the United States for both recreational and medicinal purposes. So first of all, Mr. Soul, what do you think of this resolution?
I would be all for it. I believe definitely there's no doubt for medicinal purposes marijuana should be legalized. I don't think there's even a question of that. And for recreational purposes, we already have smoking, tobacco is already legalized, alcohol is already legalized. The argument that it would cause more crime and such, I think is faulty. I don't think it would. And I think alcohol is much more dangerous than marijuana is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I believe, I've met people who say very different things. I've heard that marijuana puts you in a state that makes you hallucinate, makes you view things differently, and it puts you in a state where you can't think rationally, and it takes away your ability to reason. So, first of all...
Maybe they were on LSD at the time that they said that. That could have been.
No, but marijuana obviously has effects on your body,
yes,
and it controls your body in ways that alcohol and cigarettes do not.
I would say the way cigarettes maybe do not, but I would argue that alcohol has the same, enough alcohol will have the same effect, or maybe even worse, than marijuana would. I've known many people who have smoked marijuana. I most recently, probably 20 years ago, I had a friend who smoked marijuana, and he actually was a grad student, and he would actually smoke marijuana, and he would teach his class when he was high, and he could deal with it. I couldn't really tell, quite honestly, when he was stoned and when he wasn't.
So do you think it's okay to smoke weed and then drive?
I would personally not do that.
But you think it should be legal?
I think it should be just as legal as drinking alcohol and then driving.
Okay, but you can smoke cigarettes while driving.
Okay, so smoking cigarettes is different.
Okay.
But in fact, you can't smoke cigarettes, I don't believe, in a car if you have children in it.
Okay.
I believe there is a law definitely against roll-up windows. But as far as health risks, cigarettes cause more health problems, I think, than marijuana would. Again, when I was growing up, I had family members that smoked marijuana. They didn't smoke it that often. I had family members that smoke a joint, maybe once a day.
Right, but this whole vibe of legalizing marijuana is telling the American public that we're going against what Ronald Reagan did for this country, and that he waged a war against drugs. And right now what you're doing by legalizing marijuana, isn't that completely working against all the work that Ronald Reagan did for this country?
Well, he waged a war against drugs that he thought should be illegal. He didn't wage a war against tobacco. He didn't wage a war against alcohol.
But those are legal.
But yeah, exactly. So there were illegal drugs, and he's like, okay, we're going to wage a war against that. People argue that smoking marijuana leads to doing cocaine and doing LSD and other things. Again, a lot of friends I grew up with at the time where I grew up, a lot of friends smoked marijuana. None of them went on to, smoke crack or take LSD or any of those.
But what we have in society right now, I'm going to treat this very practically. That smoking marijuana is considered cool. It's a generalization, but it's considered cool, whereas smoking cigarettes is considered lame. It's what old people do,
nowadays,
not the modern generation. So by legalizing marijuana, wouldn't you be creating more smokers, a larger smoking population for the future? And both marijuana and cigarettes increase the risk of lung cancer. So wouldn't you, by creating a bigger population of smokers who think that smoking, in this case weed, is cool, you would increase the risks of more and more people getting lung cancer?
I don't know what the studies are on with smoking marijuana and lung cancer. Like I said, people who smoke marijuana typically maybe a joint a day. Okay, maybe. And like I said, when growing up, a lot of people, once a week, it's like, okay, let's go out. Like some people would go out and party, drink alcohol. Others would go out and it's like, oh, well, let's get high. And so I don't think they did it as much. One of my sisters smoked marijuana. And it was a recreational thing. And it wasn't, she didn't do it and then drive a car. And it didn't hurt anyone else. Again, I don't think the health risks with marijuana, I mean, yes, if you smoke marijuana like you smoke cigarettes, then you're going to get messed up, I'm pretty sure. But that's typically not the way people treat it. They treat it more as a, it's not something, oh, I get up in the morning, I crave marijuana. Again, I don't think it's nearly as addictive as cigarettes are. They go for the feeling, the high sort of thing. It's a whole different sensation, I think. So I don't think a lot of those problems would arise.
So you're a definite A on this
I'm
resolution.
definitely an A on the resolution of legalizing marijuana. And I have known people, I knew a person who had tinnitus, I guess the ringing in the ears thing, and the only thing that helped him was marijuana. That is the only thing that could get him through the day.
Where do you get that notion that the only thing that helped him? That's because the doctor prescribed that, and the
Actually,
doctor
the doctor
couldn't
did prescribe it. He got it illegally.
he got it illegally.
Illegally, yes. But it wasn't even in the state of California. It wasn't a personal friend. It was just someone that I knew of through the family. But
and another thing, if you have marijuana legalized, should we tax it?
I would think they could, and I don't think
Tax it heavily, I mean.
Yes, I don't think that if they legalize marijuana, well, first of all, the people who already smoke it, they're still going to smoke it. Okay, and they're going to smoke it whether it's legalized or not. So that's not say, well, people are going to do it, so let's make everything, make it all legal.
And how do you think this
will?
will?
But people who don't smoke it, I don't think they're now going to say, well, now that it's legal, I'm going to go out and try it. I don't quite see that it's happening.
Really?
Why? Have you ever smoked marijuana?
Well, I know a lot of people who say that, oh, I'm going to go do weed in Holland because it's legal there. So people have a great deal of respect. A lot of people have a great deal of respect for the law.
Okay, well, that could be. And I have actually been to the Netherlands. I've been to Amsterdam, and I've walked past places where the signs were out there. Interestingly enough, I thought it was going to be different. I thought it was like, oh, you can smoke weed and walk wherever you want. Turns out it wasn't that way. The people in Amsterdam at the time, this was in '87, I think.
And did it smell like pee? Because weed smells like pee.
But you had to. So the people who did it, they couldn't leave the bar with it. So I was there with a friend, and we were just kind of walking around checking out, and we discovered, you could go into a place and you could buy a joint, if you will, and maybe they would roll it for you, or you would do it yourself. And then, but you had to stay. They made the people stay in the bar, which I thought was kind of interesting and actually kind of responsible. That they didn't have the drugs going around and granted they have a lot less people than we do, but who knows? I mean, they don't seem to be having a lot of the issues we have. Maybe we just don't hear about them.
Okay, so there's Mr. Stoll for you on his opinions on whether marijuana should be legalized in the United States for both medical and recreational purposes. Thank you, Mr. Stoll.
Thank you, Govi. Appreciate it.